Hello and welcome to MADinc. My name is James and today we're going to be taking a look at XPEL Stealth paint protection film. Recently, we had two different vehicles both come in for Stealth PPF at the same time as each other. The first is a Toyota GR Supra GTS, the first example we've seen with the new manual transmission. The second is a Mercedes-AMG GLC63. Both cars have arrived new from the factory, already sporting matte finished paint, which can only be protected in Stealth PPF. If you were to put the glossy finish XPEL Ultimate Plus paint protection film over a matte finished factory paint, it would turn the car glossy and defeat the purpose of having the matte paint in the first place. The purpose of this video is to give you guys, our audience, more of an insight into what goes on behind those PPF bay doors. And to give even more of an expert, detailed explanation of the product and the process, I'd love to introduce our paint protection film installers, Matthijs and Kyle.
Hi, I'm Matthijs. I'm a paint protection film installer at MADinc and I install films on all the cars that we get in. Paint protection film is a self-healing film that is applied to the paint of your car. It protects the paint of your car against rock chips, swirls and other minor damages. Paint protection film is applied in a very different way than most other films, as most films like vinyl are applied dry, whereas paint protection film is applied with a gel. The gel allows us to place the patterns on the right position and then tag them. This allows like a perfect placement of the patterns, and this avoids cutting with a blade on the paint of the car. Currently we're working on a Mercedes-Benz GLC63 AMG Coupe. That's a whole mouthful. And it's going in the Stealth paint protection film as the paint of the car itself is Stealth. The good thing about the Stealth paint protection film is that it has the same finish as the Stealth paint, and it protects the paint against all the damages that can occur.
Hello, I'm Kyle and I'm a paint protection film installer at MADinc. This week I am working on a Toyota Supra GR GTS with a manual gearbox. It's actually the first one I've seen so far. The paint is matte, and on top of being matte paint, I'm applying satin PPF to it. The difference between PPF and all the other wrapping type materials, which would be tinting, vinyl wrapping, or even sticker decals, is that when we're applying paint protection film, it is a wet application and the material has a certain level of stretch to it. We use precise patterns from a database on DAP from XPEL, and so when we apply it on the car, it comes exactly to the dimension of the pattern we are trying to put on. So if it were to be a door, the pattern is made precisely for that piece. Whereas if someone were to vinyl wrap a car, they mainly doing a dry application and using heat guns, and you cannot really use a pattern. So the application is completely different, but also the use between vinyl and PPF they have two different natures. One is cosmetic and probably to be a color change, whereas PPF's purpose is to protect the paint.
I really enjoy working on the Mercedes-AMG as the patterns for this car are super precise. The finish after installation will be pretty much invisible, even though the film will protect the entire car. We take parts of the car, like the mirrors and the door molds, in order to give a seamless finish. Even though the patterns in DAP are super precise, I always like to extend the edges of the pattern with about 1 centimeter. This allows us to wrap the patterns around the edge and ensures a seamless finish.
At MADinc, we pride ourselves with putting out the best product possible, and in order to do that, Matthijs and I follow some pretty strict protocol and techniques to make sure that every single car we work on has the best quality of film on it. So in order for that to happen, we have to prepare the surface really well, which starts in the wash bay with soapy water and wash mitts. But when we bring it into the PPF bay, we have a lot of light to be able to see all the impurities and imperfection in the paint. So we use a clay bar in order to remove stubborn iron or rust particles that may have stuck in the paint. So this is a clay bar, a blue piece of putty that does not scratch the paint, but when rubbed onto the surface with soapy water, allows the blue putty to catch onto the iron and the rust and remove it from the paint. So we're removing all the contamination. We prep the panels, we squeegee them, and then we start the application by starting with the gel and soap and then putting on the film.
Obviously there's easier and harder bits on the cars. The easier bits on this car are the doors and the 3/4 panels, as the panels are fairly flat. The harder bits were the front bumper, rear bumper, and also the custom interior bits that I've created for this car.
nice thing about working on the GR Supra is it's a very unique shaped car. It has a very long bonnet. All the shapes are not really conventional, they're not square and boxy. It's a very rounded car, which means that it has its own technical aspects when applying the PPF to it.
For bonnets, we usually don't use the available pattern because wrapping bonnets requires a lot of stretching. What we do with bonnets is we use a big bulk piece, as we call it, and we trim it around the edges with that centimeter overlay that we can work around the edges, and this way you can stretch as much as you want on the material and still make it wrap around the edges without it being visible in the end.
We usually use 60-inch rolls, but for that particular bonnet we needed a 72-inch roll, which means that you're using a lot more surface, and it has its own technical aspects. It had like a really rounded shape where the wheels are, and 2 bonnet scoops. The front bumper is a very intricate piece, and in many areas I had to make the film butt up against each other in this manner without it being obvious and without it being visible. So yeah, it was a really nice and fun car to work on.
Even though we're working on a matte car this week, it doesn't mean that we're not protecting the gloss bits. The bits like the mirror, lower bits of the front bumper and the center console are gloss bits. We protect these with gloss transparent paint protection film.
They are technical pieces and we're trying to apply it in a way that the film is invisible, such as on the body kit around the car has black side skirts and front splitter and diffuser, and in order for the film to be invisible, the application had to be perfect, and yeah, that was particularly tricky to work on.
It was interesting to follow along the process of these cars getting worked on at the same time as each other, because although they're both here for exactly the same job, they're such different cars. Which of the two cars in this video would you choose for yourself and why?
From these two cars, I would personally pick the AMG because I'm currently looking for a car with a bit more space. I love the Supra with the 6-speed manual, but it's just not really what I'm looking for at the moment. So yeah, the GLC it is.
It's a difficult pick actually. For my personal satisfaction, I would pick the Toyota GR Supra because it's a fun, powerful car. But on a more practical side of things, I would pick the GLC because it has more space, can put a dog in the back, and so I would pick the Mercedes.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you really enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, want to learn more, or want to check out any of our other content, feel free to look around on our website, our social media channels, or here on YouTube. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we look forward to seeing you all next time.